You're becoming agitated. You bet I'm agitated! I may be surrounded by insanity, but I am not insane. And nothing you or anyone else can say will change that. And I won't let you or anyone else tell me that I am. You may be able to destroy my mind, but you can't change the fact that I'm innocent. I didn't kill that man!
Hello everyone, welcome back to Fully Functional, a TNG podcast. I'm Maggie, joined by Jeff and Dory.
Yo.
Jeff and I are veteran Trekkies, and Dory is a rookie Trekkie, and we are taking her on her first journey through Star Trek: The Next Generation. Today we're discussing the Season 6 episode, Frame of Mind. Original air date is May 1st, 1993. And once again, this episode will give you a warning, apologizing for any background noise you hear. It is 31 degrees Celsius in Toronto, and we are not going to turn off our air conditioning. Sorry. So, as always, we'll take it to Dory for the recap.
Okay, so Riker, his hair is a mess. He's dressed in all black, which normally I'm on board with. Because listen, that's my regular uniform.
Okay, come on. It's like an off gray.
It's fine.
It's dark gray. Yeah.
Like, it's like a
close enough.
It's like black clothes that faded. It's like old black clothes, if you will. Okay. And okay, and there's like a little chair in this gray room, or one might say a faded black room. And he's like, I'm ready to leave. You said once. Okay, I fully was so confused initially. Okay, anyways. He's like, I'm ready to leave. You said once I accepted what I'd done and accept the consequences of my actions, I will be free to go. And the doctor's like, so you think you should stand trial? And Riker's like, yeah, I'm ready to prove my innocence. And the doctor's like, I thought you accepted what you did. And I was like, oh, damn. And Riker's like, oh, I was sick when it happened, and he wasn't responsible for what he did. And the doctor's like, well, what if you're just telling me what I want to hear? And I wrote, sounds like Data. I wrote, sounds like Data. Professional Data. Lol. Riker sounds stressed. He starts to stumble his words. And then he stops. He smiles, a really good smile. And then asks to go back a line. And I was like, what? And then there's Dr. C. This is a fucking play. And that was Data.
Yeah.
Sure was.
Good job for me. Good job, me. I recognized Data's voice.
Yeah, the big reveal is he's just performing a play.
Hey.
Yeah. So I wrote my notes. Cut to Dr. C in the audience. How dare you? I don't know why I wrote how dare you, but that's what I put. Okay, so, and yeah, it was Data. Dr. C is like, let's take a break. Riker is like, not sure he's right for this part. I love that Dr. C is still doing plays. I don't understand the point of this play, but listen, it's fine.
I mean, in this case, it's an imaginary play that they made up specifically for the script, whereas I don't think the previous one was.
Yeah.
I
just like that they're doing that. She's still like, this is one of the few ongoing things that they did not just completely forget about.
Yeah.
Which I like. This is a recurring bit that I am happy to see is still going. Riker's not sure he's right for the part, and then Data says, most humanoids have the potential to be irrational. Perhaps you should attempt to access that part of your psyche. He's not wrong. Riker's like, it feels like it's like me against the world. Just like his first year at the academy? I think he's talking to Troy or something, and somebody says that to him. Or he says it to somebody.
No,
is he intent forward?
It's because
he's talking to Dr. C. I don't remember.
No, it's when Dr. C is trying to talk him through his character's motivation and stuff. So he's feeling like this, and he's basically saying my first year at the academy to relate it to something so that he can draw on that for the character.
I do find it wild from what we know about Riker and his personality that in his first year of the academy, he felt like alone and everything was against him. To me, that is wild, but okay.
Well, I mean,
it's something. I mean, I'm not bashing it or anything. I'm just like, honestly, did not see that coming.
yeah.
I would have thought like Riker would have immediately like fit in, and like people would have been like,
No,
oh,
that was
boy,
Picard.
Well,
welcome to the
remember
party,
he grew up with Kyle.
I know, and I guess in Alaska,
This is
some
true,
might
yeah.
say. Yeah, but Dr. C's like, don't worry about it. You're gonna be great.
You're gonna knock him dead.
And then yeah, so Riker's is like he's now like walking down the halls and he's practicing his lines, and one person he walks by does like a double take and is like, what the fuck? I just see one person react to him. It's so funny. So then Riker says, I may be surrounded by insanity, but I am not insane. And then he walks right into a guy with some wild face prosthetics, and they stare at each other for a good couple seconds. Of course, I wrote kiss.
He's kind of like a reverse Ferengi in terms of his prosthetics. It's like an inverse butt.
Yeah, I kind of get
No,
that. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I love that Riker, he's rehearsing his lines while he's walking down the hall, like still all disheveled and shit.
Yeah.
So he just already looks fucking crazy.
Yeah. He like stares at this guy who we do learn later who he is, for like very, very like a good few seconds. And then Riker goes into the lift. And I wrote, oh, that guy fucking did something. That kind of long gaze is either for a love interest or villainy. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so like the guy walks away. Riker's like, what? Who the fuck was that? Okay, so Picard is telling Riker about it's Talonus 4. I'm literally looking at a 4 and I'm saying a different number. Their government just collapsed. Their prime minister was assassinated. There's a Federation research team still on the planet who they believe have gone into hiding. Riker's mission, if he chooses to accept it, is to locate and evacuate them. No local authorities are there, and various factions vying for power, desperate for weapons and tech of any kind. Some factions...
Wow, that sounds like an interesting episode. Why aren't we watching that? Hey-oh!
Yeah, I mean, some factions have even resorted to torture to gather information and foreshadowing.
That was good. That was good. I like that.
Starfleet research team would definitely be a prime target. And so Riker is to go down alone undercover, and I just was like, are you dumb? Are all of you dumb? Why? And you know what Starfleet needs? They need a tactical team specific for this shit. The first officer should not be going down undercover for a rescue mission. It's the same thing when they send Picard on shit. It's like, these are people who are in charge. Why are they being sent off on these life or death situation missions?
To be fair,
why is anyone on the Enterprise sent for these missions?
This is
it doesn't make any sense.
Criticism of Star Trek, like, since its inception.
As it's a deserved criticism, because also by himself, we know what happens when Riker goes to planets by himself. Bad things happen. We've seen this before. Like, can we not? Like, Riker's not a spy. Please stop. We need to stop doing this. And also, like, why Riker in specific, like, particular? Like, what? No, like, why Riker? There is no reason. None of this matters. Okay. So I wrote, well, oh no, Riker is like, oh no, looks like I can't do the play because I have to go do this mission. But Picard's like, don't worry, we don't get to the planet for another 5 days, so you got time. And if Riker backs out, Picard's like, Dr. C's gonna make me do it. So thanks for the priorities, Picard.
Yeah. Also, it's like the night before. I'm like, sorry, Riker, it would be a super asshole-ish move to back out now.
Yeah.
Like, I know Bev probably forced you into this, but you know.
Yeah, like, you're gonna fuck up the whole play now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so he's like, now go see Worf for your debriefing. Worf is showing Riker the last known location of the research team, and Riker goes, Worf's like, oh, they're over here. They were like last seen in the southwest quarter. And Riker's like, the southwest quarter is over 200 square kilometers. That's a lot of land for one man to cover. I guess I'd better pack an extra pair of boots. There is 4 seconds of silence.
Yeah.
Between the end of that sentence and Worf doing something else. It is the loudest 4 seconds, and I loved it. Worf just like does not get it, and
not only does he not get it, he
giving
gives him a
him
look
nothing.
like, Commander, you must take this seriously.
Yeah, and it's like it's weird even for Worf.
Yeah.
Like
and
it's
Worf
a little
is Team
like,
Riker. What?
Lacking in humor even for Worf.
Yeah. And so then Worf gives Riker like a breakdown of his character and shows him like the barter knife, which like he gets very enthusiastic. I mean, it's a knife. Worf loves a knife.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he cuts
A ceremonial
Riker
knife, especially.
Oh yeah. He loves violence knives and non-violence knives.
Mm-hmm.
I guess just give Worf something like pointy and he's happy. It's like the reverse of what you give a baby. Give it to Worf. He cuts Riker in the temple. And Riker goes to sickbay, and Dr. C's like, wow, you'll really do anything to get out of being in the play. But then, like, Riker is still feeling the same pain after Dr. C heals him, and then immediately, like, Geordi brings... Oh, and some other guy brings this other guy in, and he's got, like, really bad pain. And there's, like, a plasma torch blew up in his arms. This guy is wrecked.
Mm-hmm.
But Riker and the plasma guy make, like, also very prolonged and dramatic eye contact. There's a lot of eye contact in this episode.
Yeah.
Okay, so then later Riker tells Troy about the plasma guy, and he's like, oh, I feel like people have been, like, staring at me or talking about me over the last few days. And, like, ever since he's joined Dr. C's play, which is called Frame of Mind, boo,
Mm-hmm.
I'm booing at the title, not the play. He's been uneasy and restless. The play is upsetting. Why did Dr. C really chose... I love Dr. C, but this was a wild choice. I do not like this choice of play. Okay. So Troy is then like, oh, maybe exploring your dark side can be healthy. I don't fucking know. That's me saying I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Not Troy. Troy's pretty on board with, like, thinking on the dark side.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't know. Again, I love Troy, but is this, like, I don't know if this is the right advice. I don't know.
No, it's definitely weird. But shadow work is a real thing. As far as I understand it, it is, like, sort of exploring, like, the, like, darker sides of yourself, but it's not just, like, willy-nilly. It's, like, under the purview of, like, a therapist and shit.
Yeah.
Also, I don't
He's
know.
like, try it. Bye.
Like, I know it's a thing, but I also don't know, like, how, like, if it's viewed as, like, a credible therapy or not. I just know it is one.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with any of it,
but yeah, in this episode, it does not feel like the right thing.
Yeah. Okay, so then, like, Riker sees Turbo Lift guy again and staring at him, and he, like, gets up and walks away. I wrote cut to Riker going for first I wrote Oscar, but then I remembered this is a play, not a movie. So I changed it to Tony. Cause yeah, he's doing it. He's acting.
Yeah.
And, but then he sees, oh wait, what did I write? I don't know. He bows. Fuck yeah, I figured it out. Okay, they finish the play. Riker bows, and then, like, when he stands up, he sees the guy, and then the turbo guy, and the turbo lift guy, and then he bows again, and then, like, but everyone is gone, And Riker's like, has become the play. And then he can't remember what his name is, but he does remember which starbase Admiral Boudreaux is on, but, not the rest of his name.
Yeah.
So, something. And then I wrote, so this guy is just going to gaslight Riker. Okay. And basically into thinking that everything that happened on the Enterprise is not real and only in his mind. And so we're introduced to...
I made that note at the beginning of my notes, actually. This is the second episode in which a character is gaslit about being on the Enterprise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so
Poor Picard.
Full dumb disclosure on my part.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Dr. Cyrus. I legit thought Dr. Cyrus and the Turbolift guy was the same person.
I always forget that they're not.
Yeah.
Because
I had
honestly,
no
they just
idea until
they
later
both look
in-
like
They
generic
look-
white guys.
They look similar, right?
Yeah, they look very similar, and they have like the same alien makeup on.
Like
and
I wasn't
stuff.
sure if like my like white guy blindness was like kicking in, or I just like.
Are
like,
you saying that
Yeah.
all of this alien species look the same? Because that's racist.
Sorry,
I'm not, because I could tell everyone else, just these two guys.
sorry. I don't think you've gotten to this point yet, but like I don't think it's really that big a deal. But speaking of white guy blindness, at a certain point in this scene, he says like, "Oh, we talked to Starfleet, and they'd never heard of you, or anyone matching your description," and it's like, I'm sorry, but
How?
Riker is the most generic looking. Like Jonathan Frakes is a handsome man and all good and whatever, but he is
But
a
he's
very
the starting sim.
yeah. He's a very generic looking
when you-
person.
I mean,
When
they
you
could
go
have
to
just like
create a
sent a picture
sim-
of him.
Yeah.
I
Literally,
guess, yeah.
he's the
but description of tall white guy with brown hair and blue eyes and a beard.
And
I
beard?
can't
Yeah.
be that can't be that unique.
Yeah, I mean, literally, when you press create a sim, that's what you see. It's Riker.
Yeah.
And I mean
maybe
that with
beardless
all
Riker,
like,
but like still, it's Riker.
like, and I mean this with all the like love in my heart, because I do adore Riker, but truly, there's nothing like particularly distinct looking about him, and that's okay. But truly,
Yeah.
what was the description they gave? Like I truly could not have told you what they said. Okay, so I wrote, obviously he's being tortured by a faction. This is obviously the torture where I'm like, this is gonna be a long episode. I was not wrong. So Dr. Cyrus says, Riker is in Ward 47 of the Chelonis Institute for Mental Disorders, and I don't like any of this. So two guys bring Riker to a group room, and a woman comes over, and I wrote, this better not be a fucking love interest. Thankfully, not.
No.
It's not. She's not. And this is not the time or place, you guys. Thankfully, it's not anything. So she's like, I'm Commander Bloom from the Yorktown, and she's like, that guy over there? There's like, there's like a bunch of Starfleet officers here. And she's like, that guy's also from the Yosemite or something. And we're gonna get out of here. And I was like, oh, okay. And she's like, I got a communicator. And then she pulls a spoon out of her sleeve.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh boy. Oh boy.
No, there is no
Okay.
spoon. Don't worry, it's a communicator.
Jeff, are you gaslighting me in
Yes.
this episode? Oh
Yes,
my God.
intentionally.
No, he's trying to red pill you.
Thank you. That was good.
Also, this is a side note, but Commander Bloom legit kind of looked like Julia Roberts adjacent,
A
if that
little
Yeah,
bit,
she kind
yeah.
of did.
That's why I like adjacent, like kinda.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we
Reminiscent.
meet. Yeah. Like Julia Roberts if you squint and she had face prosthetics on. Okay, so then we meet this like big guy, Mavic, and he fucking sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And he has too much fun gaslighting Riker.
Yeah.
He goes, God, I was so mad at this. So, okay, Vec goes, I remember when they brought you in. You were struggling, screaming. We could barely hold you down. In fact, just getting the blood off your hands took over an hour. And Riker's like, blood? Also, listen, Jonathan Frakes, big fan. However, this was the wildest episode in terms of acting choices.
Yeah.
There are some real choices that I'm so sorry. I laughed I know it's not supposed to be funny, but and it's not like bad. It's just wild choices.
Are you talking about
this particular guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair.
So, okay. Yes. Okay. So back.
I was gonna say because this particular guy can be kind of.
Oh, he was the worst.
I don't know what the word for it is. It's hard to take him
Oh,
seriously
because he's smirking the whole
like,
fucking time.
Yeah, and he's so like
I wanted to smack
generically
him.
villainous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is frustrating.
I think Dory meant like Jonathan Frakes' acting choices.
No,
okay,
I know that. What I mean is that in terms of like taking the scene seriously,
That's why, yeah.
it's difficult in that moment because it's
This-
hard to take him seriously.
Yeah. The scene
But
was
also,
just
this
wild.
isn't the only. This isn't the only like weird, loud delivery. Like towards the end, when the director's like, "Let me help you," and Riker's like, "No," and then he weakly pushes him.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
Yeah, listen, there's some choices. Okay, so the blood off your hand took over an hour. Riker's like, blood? And then Mavek's like, on your hands, close. You didn't just kill that man, you mutilated him. Riker says, what are you talking about? I didn't kill anybody.
You delivered that line better than he did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You
I
didn't
am
just
known
kill
for
that
my...
man. You mutilated him.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then Vivek goes, I'm afraid you did. You stabbed him. They found you near the body. The knife in your hand. And Riker says, no, that's not true. And then Vivek goes, yes, it is. And if you ever get out of here, you're going to stand trial. And then Riker goes, you're lying. And then Vivek goes, I imagine...
He said, search your feelings. You know it to be true.
And then Vivek is like, I imagine the punishment will be quite severe considering you stabbed him 9 times. And then the start of... Cell Block Tango from Chicago begins. No, I'm kidding. All I could think about was like in Cell Block Tango when he's like, he stabbed him.
He ran
10
into
times.
my knife. He ran into my
he ran
knife.
into my knife 10 times. Yeah, I love that. Then Riker, of course, screams no, and then he tries to strangle Mavek.
Honestly,
okay.
On par, maybe not on par, not quite as bad, but very close to the no at the end of like the Revenge of the Sith or whatever it is.
No. You have to watch that again. That one's much worse than you remember.
Okay. Okay, maybe it is, but it was that. Okay, I have to rewatch
upsetting.
it. Yeah, I have to rewatch it for a true comparison. Yes.
It was
However,
also a really long no, and like he echoes it himself. He doesn't just say no. He says no. Whoa.
Yeah, it was upsetting.
It was bad. It was bad enough to remind me of the Revenge of the Sith. No,
that's fair.
So maybe it's not literally as bad, but it reminded me of it.
Okay, so then like Mavek gives Riker a huge needle, and then he wakes up in his bed on the Enterprise, and so then Riker is telling Dr. C about the dream, and she's like, "Oh, did you? What did I write? Fuck, did you something the play in your dream? How did? Oh, you did the play in your dream.
Yeah.
How did it go?" And he's like, "Well, it was a smash."
Oh, thank
I'm
God.
like, yeah, sure, play like that, definitely a smash. Listen, it was a graveyard smash, if anything.
Oh.
Okay. So Riker's putting on the. I should have read what I was writing before I read what I was reading before I said it out loud, because I wrote. So Riker's in the mirror and he's putting on the reverse of my makeup.
Yeah, he's putting dark circles under his eyes.
Yeah, and so yeah, Dr. C then, she says, well, we have 1 hour before curtain. How are you feeling? And then Riker says, I feel like an actor. And then Dr. C goes, well, you're certainly beginning to look the part. And I'm like, okay, what? Sure, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Okay, so then during Riker's performance, he sees Mavek in the window of the cell, and he looks the other way, and he sees the Enterprise crew, and this all throws him off, and Dr. C reminds him of the line, and he hears like a clang and looks over, and he's now in the cell, but then he looks back, and it's Data and the crew, and Riker then sees Dr. Cyrus in the audience, and is like, oh, this is all related to... No. he didn't see Dr. Cyrus in the audience. It was the other guy. I thought, because this is what I thought, he was still the same guy, because I wrote Dr. Cyrus. Because at this point, we did not know what the other guy's name is.
To be honest,
Here
it
we
doesn't
do learn.
really matter.
It doesn't, but I feel like I should correct myself here.
Yeah.
But yeah, Riker freaks out and he runs over to the guy. It's the turbo lift guy. And they're like, he's like, this is all related to you. Who are you? And Riker just has the wildest facial expression while he's holding this guy. And we learn this is
he holds that one for a second or so.
It is absolutely bizarre choice.
Basically, he like protrudes his bottom jaw for some reason.
Yeah, it is. It's wild. But we learn this is Lieutenant Suna. And so Dr. C takes Riker to sickbay, and he's got increased heart rate, high blood pressure. Don't we all? And like he's super tired, but otherwise he's fine. So Riker takes a walk with Troy, and Data tells him that he liked how method Riker got. But Troy's like, maybe try the relaxation techniques that I showed you a few months ago. And Riker's like, yeah, hard no. But then he hears Dr. Cyrus's voice, and I just wrote panic at the disco. But that's less fun. So then Riker, now he's in the lift. The doors open to the hall of the Institute, and he keeps telling himself it's not real, it's not real. Then the ship hallway is back. So Riker then sees Commander Bloom and runs away to his quarters, aka the cell. So Riker tells Dr. Cyrus that in the hospital things feel real, whereas on the Enterprise reality breaks apart. Nothing makes sense. And then when it's over, everything fades away like a dream. But Riker does not remember how he got to the hospital. But they're like, listen, we talked to hospital administration, and we got to get you the fuck out. You got to like move on because we need to help other people, okay? And there's two options. One, they can try to help him remember what happened using reflection therapy, and if that's successful, he will be fit to stand trial. So reflection therapy is described as it's a way for you to interact with the various facets of your personality.
This episode has a
Sounds
lot
like a
of
nightmare.
90s tropes about like psychiatric stuff in it.
Yeah.
It's bad. They scan the regions of your brain that control emotions and memory and then project them holographically. Honestly, sounds like a nightmare. And then second option is a complete synaptic reconstruction of your cerebral cortex. So that sounds worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, two choices. Either we help you or we rebuild your brain.
Yeah.
So that would mean they would neutralize the synaptic pathways responsible for his mental instability, and the procedure is irreversible. The person you would know would cease to exist. And Riker's like, let's go with option one for now.
That sounds like an ice pick lobotomy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, of course,
they're
like, listen, they've gaslit Riker to the point where he like thinks he's crazy and wants help, and like, you know, he doesn't want to be dealing with what he perceives as hallucinations and stuff anymore. However, what I'm thinking is like, listen, at a certain point we'll have no choice but to release you. So then I'm like, okay, I'll just chill until you release me then.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing as like you just told me like you're gonna have no choice soon, so I'll just chill.
Yeah, just hang out. Yeah.
Yeah. Like what are you gonna do to me? Like,
yeah, give me some snacks and call it a day.
yeah.
So then Riker's going to start reflective therapy this afternoon, and it's going to be rough. Okay, so they start, and then Troy shows up. She's a representation of Riker's feelings. And Troy's like, Riker, you were scared, trapped, threatened. And then Worf appears, and of course Worf's line is obviously, I was angry.
Yeah.
Like, that tracks. Classic Worf. And then Picard shows up, and says his spiel, and Riker apparently was followed into an alley. Somebody grabbed him from behind. There were 3 humanoids. Gasp. Riker saw one face, and it was Lieutenant Suna, aka Mr. Suna, who is conveniently the hospital administrator. So this is when I realized that
It was 2 different guys.
Yes. So Troy then is like, hey, listen, this is not real. You are on the Enterprise. And Picard's like, we're colleagues. You can believe us.
Yeah.
I'm like, how dare you, Picard? Just colleagues? But Riker's not buying it because he's like fucking terrified. And he tells Worf, Troy, and Picard that like they're delusions. And they plead? What the fuck did I write? Man, my writing is upsetting this episode. I mean, when is it not? But like, I really...
To be honest, I think...
I don't know what the fuck.
To be honest, I think the phrase, what did I write, is just your catchphrase.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
That's fair.
It tracks.
I think I wrote plead. They plead with him to believe him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that sounds kind of... Yeah, that makes sense. But Riker is freaking out. And Dr. Cyrus is like, you did it. But then, like, Dr. C... Then, okay, so then now we're back in, like, the lunchroom. And then Dr. C... I was confused at first. She just, like, casually walks in, goes right up to, like, Riker's lunch. And she's like, do you know who I am? Do you know where you are? And I wrote, not to objectify, but Dr. C looks great.
All right.
Listen.
The uniform did work on her, yeah.
Listen, I love Dr. C. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I also wrote, oh, she's a real one. She tells Riker that, like, she explains to him the whole thing. He was undercover. They got word that he killed someone, but they didn't believe it. Mm-hmm. And the hospital admin denies he's in the hospital. Mr. Suna denies that he's in the hospital. Classic Suna. But Dr. C is also undercover now, and she's going to get him out. And I'm like, God, can you guys... You're the fucking head of... Like, you're the head of medical. Why the fuck are you undercover in this particular situation?
Also, if you were able to walk in, like, so casually, like, couldn't you just hit in a emergency transport thing?
Yeah, it truly makes no sense. Cause,
I mean, we find out later why it doesn't, but...
Yeah, so, but Riker assumes none of this is real.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, in Riker's cell, Worf and Data appear in their tactical turtlenecks. They get Riker up, and he was lying on a tiny black triangle pillow, which is truly a wild design choice, but listen.
Yeah. You'll notice in Star Trek, anytime you see someone's bedding... Well, it more so...
It's upsetting.
Yeah,
bedding is wild.
More so in DS after, like, TNG, but, like, yeah, the standard pillow is that, like, super tiny triangle pillow for some reason.
Really? Okay, yeah. I don't like that.
No one does.
Riker is, like, he's so gone that he already, like, tries to get away from Worf and Data, but Mavek is like, oh, hey, and take them to security, but Data's like, going to drop you like a pile of blocks, you guys. And Worf just like takes out Mavek. So they get Riker to the Enterprise. They beam up. They set up the like triangle field, whatever. And they get him there. And Dr. C says there's like some damage to the parietal bone. Parietal lobe,
I believe.
Yep. I have it in front of me spelled correctly. I know these words and yet did not read them correct once. Yeah, parietal lobe. It's as if someone is trying to access Riker's long-term memory. And he's in a severe state of neural shock. And, then they're like, the cut from Worf is, like, still bleeding. And then I wrote, are we about to be Inceptioned? This whole episode was Inception. Did Christopher Nolan just watch this episode 60 times? I swear to God. So now Mr. Suna is part of he's part of the, like, rival faction. He is responsible for what happened to Riker. And it's bleeding. Again, Riker grabs the phaser and is like, I'm going to figure out what's real and what's not one way or another, and I'm going to shoot myself to do this. Then he does that. The Enterprise shatters to reveal Dr. Cyrus, Mavek, and Suna just like standing there like fucking creeps in the cell, just staring at Riker. And Suna's like, well, your delusions have gotten worse. I think we should, surgery. I think we got a surgery.
Yeah.
And I just like I feel like the hospital administration doesn't make those decisions, but
Yeah.
They do on this planet.
go off, I guess. This long con is truly like someone did not do research on their like their role prior to this con. And oh yeah, why is every line that is delivered by Mavek with like a gross smile?
Yes.
I did not like it. It's very frustrating. Okay, so Riker says, I still have a phaser. Why do I still have a phaser? And as soon as it's not a phaser, it's a knife. And just like the delivery, the way that he said it's a knife, was very funny to me.
Yeah.
And Riker, his head is still bleeding. Mavek approaches. Riker shoots him with the phaser, and Mavek shatters. And Riker says, if this is a knife, what happened to Mavek? And then Suna goes, it's very complicated.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. It is. So Riker, he's not looking great in the sense that we can see, his wound. I thought it said wood. His wound. Okay, so he was like injured on the temple, but like at this point you can see the wound and it's not great. It is not like, it's very much like, you can see it. Not in like, it's just like, it's like the bleeding is thicker somehow, and you can see the outline of like the prosthetic. It's not great. I'm like, you can do better. We know they can do better. This feels lazy, even for them. Like the blood also looks too fresh. Okay, so then Riker's like, this isn't real, and he sets the phaser to 16 wide field, and it should destroy half the building. Do it, Riker. And what it does is it breaks the fourth wall. Not actually.
I mean, technically.
It shatters to the... yeah, sort of. So then it shatters the Enterprise audience of the show, and then Riker realizes that, like, Riker realizes what I deduced the second I saw him. Suna is doing all this shit. So Suna's like, I can help you, but Riker is like fucking done. He pushes Suna and the audience cheers more. Which is, then like the scene shatters to Riker waking up on a table. Oh yeah, okay. He wakes up on a table. The sensor in his temple where the cut is, it's like going. So that's what it was. It's like the sensor. And he sees, of course, he sees the barter knife at the other table. He's in kind of like a lab situation. And he's, it's kind of dumb that they just like left the knife out there. Like that's like, you guys are a dumb faction. Like get your shit together. So then Suna hasn't finished the neuro drain. So like, hey, random guy, go sedate Riker more. But Riker fists the guy and grab the knife and calls the Enterprise emergency transport. Mad. Riker gets away. So Dr. C then repairs the damage to his long-term memory. Riker was abducted 2 days after arriving on the planet. Picard believes that they were extracting strategic information from his memory using neurosomatic technique. What?
It's a word they made up.
What strategic what is the strategic information they think they're getting from Riker? He went on a rescue mission. What fucking thing does they think he has? This is it's dumb.
Yeah.
Okay, so Troy thinks that Riker's mind must have created a defense mechanism that helped him reset the neurosomatic process. His unconscious fastened to elements of his real life in an attempt to keep him grounded. Okay, so then Riker, he nods his head like I did? What? I don't know what I wrote there. Anyways, Riker wants to, he wants to tear down the set for the play on his own because he doesn't think he could sleep knowing that it was still up. And we don't even get to see him really destroy it. He gets like one hit in, and then it's like cut to the exterior wide shot of the ship flying away. And that ends the tale of...
Why are they still building sets in the future where they have holograms?
I don't know what to tell you with this episode. I don't care for this episode. It's not, I'm good to like, I didn't hate it. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy watching it. This was a struggle to get through. I also did not like watching Riker fucking lose his mind like this, like freaking out. And I got confused at one point of like, what layer are we in?
Yeah.
And yeah, I just the whole time this is like this similar to the like Troy episode where they put her on the freaking the Romulan ship. Is like, why did Riker had no reason to fucking be there.
Yeah.
Riker, none of this makes any sense why Riker should be there. It truly, and again, Jonathan Frakes, big fan, but some of the choices that he makes, it's not also, to be fair, it's not just him. The guy who plays Mavek, he made some unfortunate choices as well. And so this episode, I was like frustrated and also found funny in places that probably is not supposed to be funny. Yeah, so I'm glad it's done.
Yeah, and to be honest, like, this has never really been one of my favorite episodes. I recognize that a lot of people do like this episode. For me,
They do?
I do.
Yeah.
I think it's fun.
What?
Yeah.
Jeff, okay, I need to hear your logic on this. 'Cause,
No, you don't.
I do. I want to know what you like about this.
I think it's fun. I just told you that.
How? Like, in what way? What's fun?
What do you mean, what's fun?
What's fun? Like, you have fun watching Riker have a crisis? I don't, like, what's the fun bit?
It's hammy in ways that I enjoy.
I mean...
It plays up the overacting, also in ways that I enjoy.
I mean, I'm not going to argue the overacting and the, like, hamminess of it all, but, like...
Like, here's the thing. This episode is very typical of 90s, ooh, we're doing the crazy story episodes.
Yeah, this is the quintessential, like, not just 90s tropes, but specifically Brennan Braga. This is all Brennan Braga. This is one of his
classic Brennan Braga.
This is one of his mindfuck episodes.
Yes. He likes to write things that are confusing on purpose in a way that doesn't necessarily have that deep of a meaning.
Yeah.
In the long run. Like, I would say the closest thing to alliteration that he really got in the episode was when what do you call it? When Riker's manifesting those parts of his personality, and Troy is obviously the fear and the self-doubt and all of that. Worf is obviously the aggression. Picard is obviously the rational part of him. That is the closest that this episode gets to being deep.
Yeah, it's kind of a reskinned, like, super ego and id.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, like, arguably you can say, like, Troy is a super ego, Worf is the id, and then Picard's the ego that sort of, takes both into account and, like, makes it logical and shit like that.
And that was also very big in, like, contemporary discussion at the time.
Oh, for sure. Because in theory, like, I like the premise of this episode, and I like sort of mindfucky shit, like,
yeah,
that,
same here.
But, yeah, I always kind of wasn't too interested in this episode, even though theoretically I should like it. And I'm kind of realizing that, like, going off of, like, one of the things you said is that rewatching it now, it's like, it's very clear to me that it's like, at least this episode specifically is about how many fake outs can we have, rather than actually saying something.
Now, that said, I do like the fact that Braga didn't commit to what was a fake out and what wasn't.
Yeah.
What I mean is something like what's it called? Dory, you referenced it a minute ago. Inception. Inception except for the very final like moment that people debate for some reason, it tries to make it very clear in the end what was part of which level. This episode does not do that at all. It really commits to not confirming that any of it actually happened.
Yeah, I mean, but I think they do confirm that basically none of it happened. Because he's like, I was, like, those were memories that were recent in my head. So, like, we can assume everything after he sees the guy for the first time, he's already in there.
Yeah, we definitely can.
Like,
but what I mean is that which of those memories were, like, somewhat accurate and which ones were not? Well, we don't have any idea. And the episode doesn't tell you. Braga probably didn't decide what was real and what wasn't. Like, what had actually happened in Riker's past that he was remembering and what he was just drawing upon. Because he was just trying to fuck with the audience.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess...
So we'll never know if the play was a smash or not.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you're using it in a different way that I'm thinking of in terms of, like, what was real and what wasn't.
Yeah, what I specifically mean is like, what actually happened out of what, like, a Riker remembered.
Like... Yeah, what was accurate and what he was remembering. Yeah. Yeah. Because to me, it's like, oh no, literally none of what we saw happened, because that was the part where he was in the... That's when they were gaslighting him.
Yeah. There's another Braga episode, I think this season, actually, that I also enjoy, and, like, similarly, it doesn't really have much of a point. It's a more of a mystery episode than this does, and it actually has, like, a beginning, middle, and end, at least, but...
Yeah.
What?
But
it has beginning, middle, and end?
Well, like a proper, what do you call it? Like
Story?
proper...
Oh, no, I mean, like,
what?
Arc?
Yeah, I would... It has
That's why I'm shocked.
Mystery
like, proper,
arc.
I'm shocked.
Proper, like,
wild.
3-act structure.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah, and this one doesn't really have that, I would say. This one, it just kind of builds and builds and builds and gets crazier and crazier.
Yeah, it kind of just meanders.
It does, yeah, because, like, the episode follows a disjointed time frame for the sake of confusing the audience, is the thing.
Yeah.
It gives us all the info that we need as we need it throughout the episode, but you never know what is actually supposed to be happening when, because you don't know, like, whether or not it's actually happening, as he keeps faking out and saying, oh, by the way, none of it happened that way, womp womp.
Yeah. The thing that's, like... I don't know if this is just, like, because of the nature of TV, or if Brendan Braga, like, just fundamentally doesn't understand this about, like, mindfuckery in movies and TV and stuff, in that, like, the parts where it's unclear whether it's happening or not is supposed to say something about the character.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Like, yeah, this is, like, it's not... Like I said, it's not saying anything, this episode.
No,
it's just
not
like,
at all.
Ooh, crazy.
The other thing that's important, at least regarding the background of it writing, is like, not every TNG episode says something, and, like, we know that. This episode was pretty hastily put together, and they knew that. They wanted something that would be I don't remember exactly what the what the pitch that Braga used. It was something along the lines of exactly what we told you, of, like, Riker wakes up in a mental asylum and he doesn't know what's real. Womp 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 womp. And there lies the entire premise of the episode, and also basically the whole story of the episode, and that's it. It really doesn't get much more complicated than that.
Yeah.
He just literally wakes up over and over and over and over.
And I mean, the episode
again.
was fairly successful for when it came out, keeping in mind that, like, stories like this on TV were not nearly as common. They would not really try to keep you on the edge of your seat as well as this one would.
Yeah. Yeah, this is before an entire era of oversaturation of, like, dark, brooding storylines.
Yeah. This is actually when
know?
that kind of stuff was sort of starting, because, like, the X-Files would have been getting pretty popular at this point, but it also would have been pretty early. It would have been, like, I don't know, second or third season, I think. So, like, the idea of, like, let's explore, like, the weirdness of the human mind and the weirdness of other unknowns was something that was getting popular. And I'm not trying to say that this episode was, like, pioneering anything. It absolutely was not. But it made for a more interesting 45 minutes than most of them did about it.
Yeah, people were starting to get into more of, like, or at least the trends started to be more into, like conspiracies and, like, weird happenings and, you know, UFOs and aliens and, like, you know, psychic experiments and, you know, all that kind of jazz. Yeah, but especially, like, nowadays, it's, like, not really that special.
No, it isn't.
I mean, the only thing I'll say is that it does feel like Brennan Braga just, like, sat there and was like, oh, people are not going to get this. Like, oh, wait a sec. People are going to lose it when they realize this is not real. And, like, I just, like, fuck you, man.
I mean, I think in 1993...
Not actually. I don't...
But...
Yeah, I got. Like, I don't actually mean... It's not like... This isn't, like, a bad episode.
No,
It's not particularly slick, but I feel like it probably had the vibe when he was putting this together. Like, he thought he was, like, the baddest bitch coming up with this.
I'm gonna blow your fucking minds with this episode.
Exactly. Yeah.
Everyone's gonna be like, whoa!
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people were in 1993, especially seeing something like that in a Star Trek episode.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing is, I guess, like, context is lost for me because, I'm sure this was pretty, like, whoa, back in 1993, but in the year of the internet, 2024, this was like, okay.
And I think, like... Yeah, this episode I usually skipped just because it was, like, not the most interesting to me. And also, thinking back on it now, it's like, yeah, I also just didn't like seeing Riker all upset and fucked up. Because, like, Star Trek was a little bit more of, like, especially, like, TNG, like, has a certain vibe, and this, like, broke with the vibe, which is fine.
Yeah. But it was a lot darker, and especially for someone like Riker.
Yeah.
I also, God, this is so shitty of me to say, but I realized how much hair gel goes a long way in this show.
They really spiked up Riker's
It's like
hair
they took
a
flat iron and just, like, said go.
Yeah.
That.
It's that thing they did in the 90s, which was really weird, where it's like, they still had, like, it was, like, really short, but really spiky. On top, instead of, like, being combed back, it would be, like, spiked up.
It was unfortunate.
Yeah, it wasn't a great look. Anyway, I think it's fair to move on to favorite moments and lines.
I liked the exchange between Riker and Suna when he's, like, holding the phaser, and Riker's like, if this is a knife, what happened to Mavek after, like, Mavek explodes, or shatters rather, and then Suna goes, it's complicated. It's very complicated. I'm like, okay. I liked the 4 seconds between Worf reacting to Riker's joke. And I did like that, like, when Riker was monologuing at the beginning when he's practicing walking down the hall, very Aaron Sorkin like, that one person that he walks by, this one lady, kind of, like, double takes. And I like that. I got a laugh out of that. Otherwise, I think that's kind of it. Yeah.
Yeah, thinking about it, there's nothing, like, The episode's fine. For me, it doesn't particularly, like, stand out, but I will say, thinking back on it, I do quite enjoy the actual, like, filmmaking of the episode. Like, I liked a lot of the transitions between scenes and, like, the transitions between, like, you know, when he's on the Enterprise and in the hospital, and, you know, the editing and stuff. Like, I thought all of that was really well done and, like, flowed really nicely.
Oh, yeah, the shattering transition, that I got kind of a laugh out of. That
Yeah,
I enjoyed that. Those shatterings.
It's just unfortunate that
What are you
it's
talking
like a
about?
very
It looks
dated
exactly
effect.
like
But,
Oh, I loved it.
like
I thought
Peter
it was
Parker
so
saying
funny.
goodbye to fucking Tony Stark. Literally exactly the same, 100%.
Yeah. Jeff, do you remember the name of the like old school TV effects? Like, you had to buy like an actual like box
I do
to
not.
like make the effects, like star wipes and shit. Do you remember? Oh, because it has this particular name, and like Googling it is hard to find because like it's all like how to add old school TV effects to your thing. I'm like, no, I want to know what they used to use, because there used to be a name for it. Because I would say like the shattered glass thing like looks exactly like one of those like stock effects from like really old school TV effects switchers. It's not great.
I actually like at the beginning when Riker is doing the rehearsal for the play, and he has to, as an actor, act like he's acting badly.
Yeah.
I always find that really impressive, because like he comes off like he's nervous and delivering it badly, and the thing is that it's supposed to be Riker who's feeling these things, not Jonathan Frakes, and so I always find that impressive because it's an actor acting like he's acting.
Yeah.
Acting Inception.
Yeah. Also, I gotta say, I know, like, people always complain about Inception and stuff being confusing. I feel like I'm the only one that wasn't confused by that movie. I'm like, it seems pretty clear what's going on to me.
Yeah. Dream and a dream and a dream.
Yeah.
Spitting a thing. I only saw the movie one time in theaters in like the second row. It was pretty intense. I'm not sure did I stay to the end? I don't know.
Whatever. Also, it's super dumb, like some people genuinely believed, like, because the ending is ambiguous, right? Like, on purpose. And some people thought it was, like, a mistake. It's like, no, like, have you never heard of an ambiguous ending? Like, it was
Yeah.
it was supposed to be not clear.
Did The Sopranos end by this point?
Yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about an ambiguous ending. And this is
Seriously.
from someone who's never seen an episode of The Sopranos, but heard a lot about the discourse when it ended.
Yeah.
So I do know the clip. So
Yeah.
I'm vaguely familiar, but oh man.
All right, sorry, Jeff. Did you have more favorite? I didn't mean to.
No, that's the one that I wanted to highlight.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, so now we'll get into predictions for the next episode. The next episode is called Suspicions, and this is a Dr. Crusher episode.
Yes.
So your little tidbit is that Dr. Crusher is hosting a delegation of different scientists to witness some new technology, and there may be some foul play afoot.
Some suspicion, perhaps?
Mm-hmm.
It's a real life whodunit. Well, I guess that's all kind of things like that.
Yeah, but who did done it?
So not really that. Ooh, okay. Ooh, okay. Ooh, what do I predict on? I'm predicting the Clue style.
Yeah. There also
the
may
victim,
be some.
the location, and the weapon.
There also might be a character in this episode you'll be excited to see.
Is it Jack Crusher? No, I'm kidding.
It's up to you to decide who it will be.
Who killed Jack Crusher?
Captain Picard.
Oh, yeah, rip.
That whodunit was figured out real fast.
Yeah. So what do you think the tech is? What do you think the foul play could be?
I'm trying to think in terms of like real future shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's got to be something that we in this like time would be like, that's fucking ridiculous. Not in like a bad way, but like it's so wild that like
They're like, I don't believe this is possible.
No, I don't believe this is possible. Okay, maybe it's something of like, okay, at this point in Star Trek, can limbs grow
Can limbs grow?
back? Yeah.
No, not really.
No, I think they can make you like a replacement limb, or they might be able to like grow you an arm or something.
And then they attach. It doesn't just grow up from your body. Because I'm just trying to think of something absurd.
Yeah, they haven't really established it in TNG,
Okay, so maybe,
but I think
not. That's not the way to go.
yeah, I think they replace limbs with like really good prosthetics that
Okay.
look like the real thing.
Okay, so they don't have to grow their own
Yeah, so,
limbs back,
so they don't have to do makeup on people.
or like 3D print
Yeah.
on them. Okay, this is something medical or just general science?
Up to you.
Okay, I'll go with medical, even though that's even worse for me in terms of guessing. Okay. I'm trying to... Okay, maybe they... No, because that doesn't... God, this is hard.
It really doesn't.
like,
it
what-
really doesn't matter.
Okay, should I just guess who was killed and with the candlestick in the lounge?
Sure.
Okay. I'm gonna guess that there's gonna be someone who's being a dickbag. Who's just maybe whatever it is that Dr. C is like showing, they're like, no, they're like doubting her, and they're like, no, that's so dumb, it's never gonna work, people have theorized it for years, you didn't do it, like you didn't like successfully do it, I don't believe you, and they end up dead, and people are like, wow, Dr. C, this guy really came for you, and now he's coming for the ground, I guess.
So everyone's suspicious of Dr. C.
Low key, yes. I think that he's killed with something related to this technology. And obviously killed on the ship. Or maybe they're killed during a demonstration, and something goes wrong because someone else has fucked around with the settings of the thing that made it's like, oh yeah, this is okay, yeah, Dr. C accidentally kills someone because someone has fucked around with the mechanics of this
Someone sabotaged the tech and
Yes,
yeah.
yes, to get rid of this guy, and it seems like makes Dr. C like a very, I mean, everyone sees him there like, but he's also being a dick before, so they're like, yeah, you did it on purpose. She's like, I absolutely fucking didn't, but she would still be sure to be like, he deserved it though.
yeah.
She's like, I didn't do it on purpose, but
Yeah, she's like those suspects on Law and Order that are like, you know, I'm glad he's dead, but I didn't do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But she did do it, but not like
Not
not
on
with her
purpose.
intention.
Yeah.
This is manslaughter. No, I'm kidding. This is nothing because Dr. C would never kill someone like that. She would
Yeah.
never commit murder.
She didn't have
Yeah,
the mens
that's-
rea.
Oh my god. Okay, Legally Blonde.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I'm going with.
All right.
Dr. C someone sabotages Dr. C and she kills a guy who is being an asshole.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, if you'd like to see if Dory's correct, watch along with us and join us for the next episode of Fully Functional, a TNG podcast.
Goodbye.